That was the moment I should have run, but I didn't. Because fear doesn't free you, it chains you. And I was already too deep in Daniel's prison. I cried all night long, and in the daytime I wore sunglasses to cover the purple stain blooming under my eye. To the outside world, I was still Michael's wife, the elegant woman with the perfect life. But under the makeup and smiles, I was cracking. Michael noticed, of course. He asked if I was okay, if something was wrong, but I lied. I told him I slipped in the bathroom. He believed me. Or maybe he wanted to believe me. After all, it was easier than asking questions he wasn't ready to hear answers to. At night, I lay in bed beside him, stiff, cold, and unreachable. I wanted to scream, to confess everything, to beg him to save me from Daniel. But guilt silenced me. I had chosen this path. I had chosen Daniel over my children, over my marriage, over my life. And the more silent I became, the louder Daniel's shadow grew inside me. Daniel's demands grew heavier. It was no longer just money. He wanted access, power, control. He wanted to dictate my movements. When I left the house, what I told Michael, even what I cooked at home. Then one night he dropped a bomb. He wanted me to transfer a large sum from Michael's business account. I froze. Daniel, I can't do that. He'll notice. His smile stretched slowly, dangerously. Then make him not notice. Do you want me to remind you who's in charge? He didn't need to raise his hand this time. His words alone were enough to choke me. The man I thought was my escape had turned into my executioner. And every no I whispered dragged me closer to a place I didn't want to imagine. It was Michael's mother who saw it first. She visited one afternoon and caught me off guard. She looked at me, really looked, past the painted face and practiced smile. "Sarah," she said softly, "your eyes are telling me something your mouth refuses to say. Are you safe?" Her words pierced me. For a moment I almost broke. My lips trembled, my chest heaved, but fear clamped down. What if Daniel found out? What if he ruined me completely? Oh no, how did I get myself into this mess? How did I come this far? Oh Lord, please help me, I cried in my heart while I shook my head and forced a laugh. "I'm fine, Mom." Just tired, she nodded, but I could feel her gaze lingering as if she knew I was walking on broken glass. That night, for the first time, I prayed. Not for forgiveness, because I didn't believe I deserved it, but for deliverance, for a way out, for a sign. The fracture didn't come from Daniel. It came from my daughter. I was in the kitchen, lost in thought, when she tugged at my dress. "Mommy, why don't you smile anymore?" My throat tightened. Children see what adults try to hide. I knelt down, touched her cheek, and lied. "I do smile, baby. You just haven't seen it." But when I tucked her into bed that night, I saw the disappointment in her little eyes. And it hit me harder than any slap Daniel ever gave me. I wasn't just destroying myself, I was destroying them too. That night, as I lay awake listening to Michael's soft snore, I realized something. If I didn't break free, Daniel would not just take my money or my body, he would take my soul, my family, my future. And for the first time, I felt something stronger than fear. I felt anger. It happened at midnight. My phone rang, piercing the silence. I picked it up, trembling. Daniel's voice crawled through the speaker like a serpent. "Sarah," he whispered, "I'm outside." My heart stopped. I jumped out of bed and peered through the curtains. There he was, leaning against his car, grinning up at my window as though he belonged here. "Open the door," he demanded, "or I'll open it myself." I panicked, praying Michael wouldn't wake up. My fingers shook as I tiptoed through the living room. Before I could turn the lock, Daniel leaned forward and pressed something against the glass, something small, sharp, and deadly. A knife. That was the night I realized Daniel wasn't just toxic. He was deadly. The next morning, I told myself it was a nightmare, but the smudge of his fingerprint on the glass proved it was real. I avoided him all day, but Daniel's messages flooded my phone. "You're mine. Don't think you can run." By evening, he sent me a picture. My children playing in the yard. My blood went cold. "Choose wisely, Sarah," the caption read. "Your loyalty or their safety." I dropped the phone, my knees giving way. For the first time, I felt the weight of the trap. It wasn't just about me anymore. Daniel had stepped into my home, my bloodline, my everything. And I knew then, I couldn't stay silent forever. Michael wasn't stupid. He began noticing my unease, my constant checking of the windows, my restless nights. One evening, as he sorted through his suitcase, he stopped and stared at me. "Sarah," he said carefully, "who are you afraid of?" The question pierced through me. My lips quivered, but the truth sat like a stone in my throat. Before I could answer, the sound of a car pulling up outside shattered the moment. Michael went to the window. My heart pounded as headlights swept across the driveway. It was Daniel, again. But this time, Michael saw him. Michael stormed outside before I could stop him. "Who the hell are you?" he yelled, his voice thundering into the night. Daniel stepped out of the car, smirking like the devil himself. "Your wife knows me very well." The world tilted. My secret, my shame, was now standing face to face with my husband. Michael turned to me, confusion and fury boiling in his eyes. "Sarah, what is he talking about?" I froze. Words abandoned me. The ground beneath my feet seemed to vanish. And in that paralyzing moment, I realized something terrifying. Daniel didn't come to fight for me. He came to reveal something I wasn't ready to face. The shouting between Michael and Daniel escalated like thunder before a storm. "Stay away from my wife," Michael barked. Daniel laughed, a low, dangerous sound. "Your wife has been mine long before you knew it." Michael lunged at him. Fists flew. I screamed, trying to pull them apart, but Daniel's knife flashed in the night. The blade cut across Michael's arm, sending him stumbling back in pain. Blood stained the driveway. My children's cries pierced the house. I froze, torn between running and fighting, between truth and silence. Daniel stepped toward Michael again, blade gleaming, eyes wild. "You have no idea who I really am," he spat. And for the first time, I believed him. The night ended in chaos. Neighbors rushed out, someone called the police, but Daniel vanished before they arrived. Michael, wounded but alive, refused to speak to me. His silence was louder than any accusation. Later, when he finally slept, I went through his suitcase, something I had never dared to do. But wait, I never really knew what took me to his suitcase, but what I know is that whenever Michiel goes to his wardrobe, he looks at that suitcase, exhales in fear while he moves on to go what he wanted from the wardrobe. He never washed that suitcase, he never let anyone touch it, and nothing actually crossed my mind. I went there crying before the wardrobe when I saw a white old torn sheet. I needed answers. I needed to know if Michael had ever suspected me or if he ever knew Daniel. What I found wasn't just suspicion, it was revelation. Inside, neatly folded among business papers, was a photograph. Michael, Daniel, and a woman I didn't recognize. They were younger, smiling, standing close together. My hands shook as I turned the picture over. On the back in faded ink was a date, 19th July 1999, and a name. The name was Daniel's, but beside it, in brackets, one word that broke me into pieces. Son. The air left my lungs. My knees hit the floor. Daniel, my tormentor, my obsession, my undoing, was my son. The child I had been told died in the hospital years ago. Questions crashed through me like waves. Who lied to me? Why had Michael hidden this? And why had Daniel come back not as a son, but as a predator? I wanted to vomit, to scream, to disappear. My sins now looked like punishments carved by fate itself. I clutched the photo, tears streaming when I heard footsteps behind me. Daniel. He had slipped inside the house like a shadow. He saw the picture in my hand and smiled. But it wasn't the smile of a son. It was the smile of a man who knew he had won. He didn't deny it. He didn't cry or ask why I left him. Instead, Daniel leaned close, his breath hot against my ear. Now you know. And still you're mine. My world collapsed. I screamed, not just from horror, but from the unbearable weight of betrayal, guilt, and sin. Michael rushed in, confusion blazing into rage when he saw Daniel holding me down. This time, the fight didn't end with fists. It ended with blood. Daniel's knife plunged, but not into Michael, into himself during the struggle. He fell to the floor, the photograph slipping from my hand onto his chest. Silence swallowed the room. My son, my lover, my destroyer, dead at my feet. Michael stared at me, broken. My children cried from the doorway. I stood in the ruins of everything I thought I knew, I heard, lived in a lie that I didn't create and yet created another one my own future now lives in. What will I tell my children? Michael and I look at ourselves not as lovers but as captives of so many secrets that we couldn't even ask ourselves. And the question that will haunt me forever burned in my chest. Was this fate's punishment or my own creation? The story is brought to you by Forges, written by Favor 00.